Sean Al-Shadi with MMA Fighting here at UFC 236 media day, speaking with Kelvin Gastelum, who takes on Israel Adesanya for the interim middleweight title. And I'll ask you about the fight, Kelvin, but first thing, this past weekend there was a bare-knuckle fight, and I saw you tweeting very excitedly about it. Is that something you maybe want to do in the future? What are your thoughts on bare-knuckle in general? It seems like it made you very excited to watch it.
I mean, it was exciting and pretty gruesome to watch, but I don't know if I would want all that damage to my face. Or my hands. I'm sure there's a lot of broken hands and wrists in that game.
It seems like a very easy place to get a lot of facial scars.
Exactly. I don't, I just don't think, I don't see myself, I don't see myself fighting in the bare knuckle.
You're too handsome. We gotta protect the moneymaker here.
Yeah, I just don't see myself. I enjoyed watching it. I will not partake.
Fair enough, man. Well, I'm interested in this fight. Your journey alone fascinates me at 185 because it seems like you were such a reluctant middleweight for such a long time. And now you've been here, you come to this division, and you've found a lot of success. Do you consider yourself a middleweight now? Like, do you feel like this is your division now, or do you still kind of go back and forth a little bit?
I definitely feel like I could go back and forth, but right now my concentration is 100% on the middleweight division.
Have you surprised yourself at this weight class?
Definitely. I mean, I always expect to win, and I expect to be here in this kind of position. But yeah, it's been a little surprising, considering how small I am compared to everybody else.
What do you think has worked for you? Like, why has that formula been so successful in this division?
Just I'm healthier, happier. I got a full stomach, which makes me feel happy.
Well, ever since Izzy came to the UFC, it seems like people are sort of talking about him. He earmarked him from the beginning as this guy might be a star, this might be a future champion. What do you see when you look at Israel Adesanya?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves all the credit. He's a guy that has come in, made a lot of noise. He's got this flair to him, and he deserves all the credit. He's been able to market himself in a very good way where he captures a lot of attention. But I've been fighting this organization for 6 years, and man, I've seen these kinds of contenders come and go, man. A lot of hype train behind them, and I've seen these kind of hype trains just come and go, and a couple years later, they're not with the organization anymore.
Like you said, he fights with a lot of flair, and he speaks with a lot of flair. Do you see substance there behind that flair too, or is it more that way?
More of what?
Is there substance behind the flair, in your opinion, when you watch, sort of what he does in the cage?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely brings a lot of skill and flair, and he has it, man. He has it.
Well, it's funny, man, because I feel like this is so fitting in a way how you've gotten there, because you have been, throughout your UFC career, doubted time and time again. You were the underdog coming into the Ultimate Fighter. You were the underdog in all these fights, and like you said, you have faced all these hype trains and, for the most part, stopped them. And yet here you are the underdog once again against Israel Adesanya, despite your 6 years in this promotion. When you look at this point, does it just make you laugh? Like, what are your thoughts when you see this just continually keep happening?
It's a little frustrating just seeing the comments that people make and how ignorant they are. How, I guess, stupid the comments are. But I feel right at home, man. I feel right at home being in this position, man. It has been the storybook of my career, so I feel right at home.
It's funny you mentioned the comments, because I wanted to ask you about that. I saw last week you had tweeted something about, if you guys have something to say, come down to King's MMA. Hey. What prompted all of that? Are you maybe frustrated with the culture, I guess, a little bit around MMA as a whole?
A little bit. I mean, some of these people that comment in the comment sections, just some of the most ignorant people and some of the most dumb comments that I've seen, and they only see what's in front of the camera. They don't know, it just sucks because they don't actually know me. They don't actually know my background and where I come from, how much I've had to work. So it's a little frustrating when people make stupid comments.
Was there something in particular that set that off? Because that was pretty out there, hey, come to my gym, come take this to me.
Yeah, no, it was an open invitation to anybody that that wants to come say something, just because I was so frustrated with the comments being made. I don't remember a specific comment. It was just a lot of them, a lot of stupid comments, a lot of stupid people commenting on Twitter.
Did anybody take you up on that offer?
No. You know, people say whatever they want to say on the internet, but I've never, ever had anybody come up to me and tell me anything remotely close to what they say online. Nothing to my face.
Are you impressed by anything so far, going back to the fight? Are you been impressed so far with anything that you have seen from Israel in his fights?
Yeah, he's an impressive fighter. He's got a lot of special skills that you don't really see often. You know, he's got a long range that he likes to use. But you know what? I was there front row in the Anderson Silva fight, and that one I really got to see Israel and his game and how much power he has, what his real speed is, and it was pretty interesting. I learned a lot there.
That Anderson fight in particular, but also just past ones, it seems like there's a lot of theatrics in the cage with him, and that sort of goes into the mind games that he's playing in there. How do you circumvent that when you're inside the cage with him?
Yeah, I just think I'm a different fighter than Anderson Silva. You know, I'm not going to be playing into those kinds of games. You know, Anderson himself is a showman and likes to do all these kinds of things and plays into it. I'm not a guy that's going to play into it.
Have you allowed yourself to visualize that moment when Dana White wraps the belt around your waist?
1,000,000 times, man. Since I was 17, I've been visualizing that.
What does it feel like to just be so close to it at this point?
Man, it's nerve-wracking knowing that I'm so close, but I still have a tough task in front of me, and I guess just like everybody else, I'm afraid of failure, but you can't be afraid of, or you can't have fear controlling your life. You got to go out there and kind of have that leap of faith.
Well, then, last couple of questions, man, and I appreciate the time. This is going to be the first pay-per-view that is sold exclusively on ESPN+. It's a big change for really the whole industry. And you're at the point where you're about to start making these pay-per-view points after this fight. This is going to affect you and your paycheck for the most part if less pay-per-views are being sold because of the switch. What are your thoughts on the switch in general?
Shoot, I just don't know how it's going to benefit me if they said that something about 500,000 pay-per-views or less, you don't get any pay-per-view points, and it has to be more than 500,000, and I just don't know how it's going to affect my paycheck, but hopefully it's in a good way.
That was the old system, or that's going to be the new system with the 500,000?
New system, right?
So
I'm not really too informed yet on how it's going to work, but from the little piece that I read is something about ESPN is going to reward 500,000 plus pay-per-view points. Or I need to reread it again because I forgot.
Sure. I mean, that's just a high bar to clear already before the switch. I mean, does that worry you a little bit about how this will affect, how your earning potential moving forward?
It does because, I'm going to be, I hope to be champion. I'm pretty confident I will be champion, and hopefully I get some pay-per-view points from here on out.
Sure. Well, hey, my final question for you, man, and back to the fight, and it's an easy question. No one has been able to deal with Israel Adesanya so far in his UFC run. He is 5-0 over the last 14 months. What makes you different, and how does this turn out on Saturday? When you visualize this fight, what does it look like?
You know what? I think what sets me apart from a lot of my fights is just my will to win. I'm not necessarily the fastest guy or the most technical guy or the biggest and strongest guy. I think what sets me apart from a lot of my fights is just my will to win.
Well, hey, good luck this weekend, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my man.